As we all know and have seen around us, veganism has been on the rise globally since the past few decades. And since the last few years, we also see these numbers increasing rapidly in India. So, to explore some aspects of veganism, particularly ethical veganism, which is people turning vegan for ethical reasons, we talked to a dairy farmer today who goes by the name of Kamalesh, who is the founder of a one of its kind sustainable dairy farming initiative called as Farming Buddha, which employs a network of local farmers to supply milk from cow to cup in under 4 hours. They hail from a village called as Nelimane in Karnataka and currently have their supply operations set up in Mysore. So, through this talk, we hope to address some of the popularly held beliefs and notions about dairy farming in India, right from how dairy farming is conducted in India, how the cows are bred, what they are fed, whether milking machines are used, whether they are painful, whether the cows are abandoned. So, let's get into the episode without any further delay.
Hi, and thanks a lot for taking out the time for this.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
before y'all, like I was very inspired by when I came across your website. I was very inspired by the kind of model that you have, the cow to cup 4 hour rule, and a very sustainable business model in other aspects as well. So
Yeah.
before we dive into the main topic of veganism and why it is trending, can you tell tell us a little bit about farming Buddha and the story behind it and how you came up with it? And yeah, so
Yeah. Since my childhood, I mean, I bought up around cows. I mean, especially in my grandmother's place, where I spent most of my holidays, mostly weekends, and even summer vacation and vacation. It was around cows. And that was the breadwinner for my grandmother's family, and in a way, it also gave some kind of financial independence to my grandmother as well.
hmm.
So she could earn something out of by selling milk and butter, ghee, which she used to produce with 5, 6 cows she had that time. And uh, actually, my great grandmother, she, she have faced a lot of hardship in her life, and that also helped my grandmother to have some resilience and within her. And my great grandmother lost her husband when she was very young. I mean, my grandmother was very young, and mostly my grandmother was less than a year, I guess. She lost her
Oh,
husband.
so y'all, I mean, it's a local delivery which is going on. So because since it is only 4 hours of a window,
Yeah,
I think within from cow to cup, it's like 3 to 4 hours. So
yeah,
you will not be able to manage delivery to far off places, right? I mean, because
yeah,
of that. So it's around your village, or is
yeah.
it?
Basically, the market that we are catering now is Mysore, which is around 24, 25 kilometers away from the village where we are operating. It takes around 25 to 30 minutes to reach Mysore from our place. So yeah, right now we are catering to only in Mysore.
Okay, and you have plans of expansion to other parts of the country.
At least
You will have to
for
then again set up the same network at
yeah,
another
yeah,
place.
yeah. So now the dairy industry that is operating not just in India, across the world, it's a more of centralized thing. What they do is they get the milk from far off places like hundreds, 200 or 300 kilometers away, sometimes even and even to Maharashtra. Actually, milk comes from Karnataka,
Hmm.
since we are a surplus producer, and even Kerala it goes from Karnataka, and in Kerala also gets milk from Tamil Nadu, and even to northern states like Madhya Pradesh and all, milk is going from
So
Karnataka
because they
and
have
everything.
to transport the milk from such a far off place, they use preservatives and all to ensure that the
Yeah,
milk
that is
is.
the yeah, that is the one part, and it's the most unsustainable thing. In the centralized model, what we do, uh, and milk travel hundreds of kilometers. So in that process, we consume a lot of fossil fuels like diesel or petrol, and even
Yeah,
for
right.
chilling electricity and all. So if it needs to be sustainable, the milk has to be. In our model, our idea is to, on an average, at least if we take consider the case of within Karnataka also. On an average, milk travels at least 300 kilometers from the point of it being produced to point of it being consumed. At least on an average, it's 300 kilometers. So our aim is to bring that distance to less than 50.
Got it.
So that in a way the carbon footprint can be reduced, the energy consumed to chill the milk and to maintain the temperature throughout the journey, and also the fuel consumed to take the milk
This
to
is a very good
far off distances can be
point you
reduced.
made about, yeah, very good point you made about carbon footprint, because
Mm,
increasingly a lot of people are going vegan in India
mm,
since the
mm,
last, 2 decades or so.
mm,
And the reason that most of them are going vegan is the reason is ethical veganism. And ethical veganism has two parts to it. One
mm.
of it is the fact that cruelty to animals and all, all of that. And the other part is sustainability. So I wanted to actually explore these two aspects, starting with sustainability, because in order to be truly sustainable, so I feel that the vegans are not as sustainable, because a lot of them are choosing options like almond milk and oat milk and things like that, uh, which may not be local to their region, or they may be consuming fruits for calcium or anything like that, which may not necessarily be local to their region. If they are choosing local options, it's another thing. Then they are being more sustainable, I guess. But if not, then it is like they are creating a demand for uh, things which are not local, and thereby they are harming the ecosystem. So this is one theory that I have. So I think if somebody wants to be vegan, they need to choose it more mindfully and carefully. But aside from that, why do you think that veganism has taken such a turn here in India, and how unsustainable or not sustainable is this dairy business in India versus uh, Western countries? Like, why do you think it has increasing? So,
So yeah, and the first thing, the understanding of veganism in the Indian context itself is wrong, what I feel, or understanding of dairy for that matter. I mean, people who are promoting veganism or people who are going for vegan by looking at the definition of dairy from the West is totally wrong, because the way the milk or dairy industry runs or milk is being produced in India is totally different from the way it's produced in the West. If you go to the West, generally it's a large dairy farms who have hundreds of thousands of cows in one place, and who produce milk. I mean, it's more like industrial dairy. So there, and of course, the in that, and when you go to a scale of having like 500 animals or 1,000 animals or 300, 500, 600, like keeping these animals, it's not possible to monitor each and every animal and what's its status and all, of course. Then in that case, many animals would be neglected, and even when if they are ill. And also keeping large animals in one single place, like thousands of animals, is always, those animals are always, susceptible to diseases often. So, and yeah, and also it's not just dairy in the animal that is pushing towards vegan. It's also beef. So in the West, it's also equally along with the milk. They also consume. They also farm beef farms which raise cattle only for the purpose of beef, and that also plays a role. And yeah, in here in India, if we look at the dairy farming, how it's done, not even 5-6% of the milks that we consume in India is produced in large dairy farms, like where people keep hundreds of cows. So here in India is generally mostly the milks are produced in a completely decentralized manner, and also in a very very small scale, starting from one cow to generally people have 5 or 6 maximum, that will be, or sometimes it goes up to 15 or 20, not more than that. And even finding 20 cow farm in a village is very hard. And if we look around the village, uh, in almost around in our own panchayat limit, which have around 6 villages under that. There is not even a single farm who have more than 20 cows. Not even a single farm. So generally have one, two, three, maximum five.
But these large
Yeah,
dairies, they don't have their own cows. Like they take from farmers only the milk. They don't have their own.
yeah. Large dairies, they work both the way. They also take from large dairy farms as well. But that number is very less. That's what I'm telling you. Not even 5% of the milk that is being consumed, produced and consumed in India. India is produced by those large dairy farms who keeps
Which
hundreds
have,
of cows.
okay.
Hundreds of cows, yeah.
Got you, got
But
it.
here, more than 9 or nearly 95% of the milk that is being consumed in India is produced by these small and marginal farmers who keep cows. It's an allied agricultural activity. It's not an main farm. Dairy farming is not their main occupation. They'll be growing some crop in their farmland, and in addition to that, so to generate additional income to sustain their families, they keep one or two cows. Because whatever the crops they grow, it's generally half yearly or yearly kind of thing. So they get return only by the end of the year, provided there is no drought, good rainfall, and not even too much of rainfall. And also they get good price, no pest attacks. When all the criteria conditions are met, they'll get the money by the end of the year, or if it's half yearly crop, after 6 months. Uh, but whereas these two or three cows that he keeps in the house, that puts some money to in his hand every 10 days. I mean, for in our case, we are paying money every 10 days to farmer. So every 10th or 11th and 20th or 21st or 30th or 1st, they'll get the money of the last 10 days. So every 10 days, they'll get the money. So this money, what they generate out of this selling that milk that they get from keeping one or two cows or three cows in their houses, that actually meets their everyday expenses, maybe for food, for education, or sometimes their hospital expenses, or even for they want a two-wheeler for petrol or something, whatever, all their expenses. So, and also, the way the cows are kept here, I mean, reared here, is not the way that has been done in the West. India dairy is more sustainable. Why I'm telling you this is because here 90% of the cow's diet is met by the agricultural waste generated by growing some other crop. I mean, after harvesting a paddy, the left out straw is fed to the cow. After
Okay,
harvesting a ragi, the left out straw is fed to the cow. That will
okay,
be stacked, and they can keep it up to here if they properly stack it. So until the next crop, they feed that to the cow. And after harvesting groundnut, the plant stems are fed to the cow. So after harvesting like maize, uh, the left out maize stem and this one, the corn in between, the after eating corn that we get in between this one, no, in the
yeah,
after
yeah.
taking out that maize, the inside this thing, they used to feed that to the cow. So here actually, and even in the houses, sometimes leftover food, maybe rice or ragi, in our case the ragi ball, or even sometimes the when we peel the vegetable skin, that goes into the cow. So
Okay, yeah.
here, actually the waste generated out of farming and even in our kitchen, that is actually going into the cow. So,
Mhm.
and sometimes even the skin of like orange, musambi, and even for any fruit that matter, for that matter, banana, everything that is going into cow. So it's not getting wasted actually, but that
Mhm.
is not the case in the West. So here dairying is more sustainable than the West. So
Okay.
if the definition of dairying is totally different here. Suppose assume that tomorrow we do not have, I mean, every Indian have adopted veganism, and there is no there is no consumption of dairy products here anymore. So in that case, the farmer will not keep the cow. There is no point of keeping the cow. So then what happened to this paddy straw, and what is going to happen to this ragi straw, and what is going to happen to this sugarcane tops after harvesting sugarcane? The green sugarcane top will go to will is fed to the cow. So then what is going to the what we are going to do with this? Nothing. We are just going to burn this, and like
And then we are going to produce more smoke.
more smoke and carbon, and that is more that will cause more damage than the people there's what which is currently and you can see this. I mean, if we go to the Punjab and Haryana part, and there the small holding land holding farmers are less there. You find very large farmers like you see in Europe, and there what they do after harvesting paddy or wheat, they burn the straw, stubble burning, and that stubble burning is one of the major cause for air pollution in Delhi.
Pollution. Yes, yes.
Especially Delhi, and which is the paddy straw and wheat straw, which is burnt hundreds of kilometers away from Delhi, is causing smog in winter season in Delhi.
Yes,
So
wow.
that is why in both the Delhi government and also in Punjab government, they are trying very hard to stop farmers from burning stubble. But there they do not have any. I mean, there the farmers are very large. Landholding sizes are very large. So and they do not feed these to cows. They do
Yes.
not. I mean, so and there the farming practices more of like influenced post green revolution. Their farming practices is more like they do in Europe, in mostly in the western part of Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, and Haryana. So we are already seeing the problem, but this problem is not occurring in South India. Why? Because the farmer do not burn this. They keep these things as a fodder for the cows. So in that way, actually, dairy is actually sustainable here, and also we are promoting many of our farmers, at least who have more than 3 cows, to have a small biodigester, and we are in discussion with one of the company and also an NGO to help them with the funding the small biodigester units so that they can generate the biogas from the cow dung, and they can use that in their kitchen so that it will become even more sustainable,
Even more sustainable. Right.
so they can avoid using this LPG in their kitchen or firewood in their kitchen. So, and the leftover slurry is a very good fertilizer for their farmland. So we are in discussion with that. If that thing materializes, probably down the line in 1 or 2 years, at least uh, 50 to 60% will our farmers will be having the biogas unit, and their kitchen will be completely eliminated out of this firewood and also this LPG.
That's nice.
And
And I think that will also help. I had a question in mind that the old cows, like when cows grow old, at least their dung will then be used towards all this, right? I mean, then they wouldn't have to be, it wouldn't be a burden on the farmers to take care of them then because it is very expensive, I assume, to take care of a cow. So which brings me to my next question about what happens to cows after a certain period in your farm as well as other farmers around you. Because
um,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
expensive.
Uh,
So
Yeah, before that, I just want to add one more line to that biogas thing. Even in our own milk processing means value addition, basically converting the milk into curd, ghee, and paneer, and even some small cheeses and all. So even here, we are not using any LPG or anything. It's completely made out of biogas thing. So we are generating biogas
nice.
with the cow dung that is generated in our own farm, and we are 100% using biogas in all our by value addition. So yeah, in this way the farmer so since this started working with us, we are discussing
That
with the
is
same company who
truly
gave us.
sustainable. Truly
Yeah,
sustainable. Yeah.
yeah, and that slurry we are using for our farmland to grow the sugarcane or paddy or any other crops in our land. So
Okay.
yeah, and to your question, what happens to these
Are
old
they,
cows?
sorry, other farmers also doing this in
Which
your
one?
network? So are the other farmers also using uh biogas? Like
Yeah, actually, when we decided to go to this biogas, actually we wanted to buy in, bulk, so that the price of that biogas unit can be negotiated well with the company who supply the biogas digester. So if we buy, instead of buying one unit, if we buy like 10 units or 20 units or 30 units, the cost would be much more cheaper if you collectively bargain with the company. That's what the idea was. But as you know, in village, especially farmers who generate very less income, and one thing, affordability, they were not in a position to afford that expense. One thing, and another thing, they were not sure how successful it's going to be. So they were reluctant a little bit. Then we thought of why don't we first try ourselves? So then after using, if you use that for a couple of months, they'll understand. Then we went and we installed that, and we have been using that for almost more than a year, and they all have seen that, and now they are convinced. But then later comes this financial part. So they were a little bit, I mean, they were not in a position to afford that. So then we wanted to figure out some solution. Then we reached out to the company who supplied to this, and then we both sat together, and then we thought, why don't we find some NGOs who are working in the sustainability or this sector to fund these farmers to have a small unit. uh, I mean, now here in the farm, we have a little bit bigger unit because we want to make byproduct now.
Yeah, yeah,
For
yeah.
domestic purpose, the small, very small, it is enough to meet the fuel requirements or gas requirement for kitchen of four or family of 4 or 5 size. Very small unit enough. So then we asked them whether they could customize this, and they are agreed to customize that for that small requirement. And in the meantime, finally, we are in negotiation with one organization, NGO, who is willing to fund. So yeah, we are working on the model. When the proper model, when we arrive at the proper model, and about funding, whether and we are pushing the NGO to fund the 100%, and but they are like, no, there are also small contribution from farmer end as well. So we are discussing that. Once we
Okay.
figured out a
But at least they
middle
are
way,
convinced.
yeah, they are okay to get it installed. Probably in down the line, in 1 year at least, we'll see at least 20 more farmers who will be using this. We are hoping for that.
Okay, nice. So, yeah, so about the old cow thing. So, what happens to the old cows in your farm and in the other farms associated with you? So,
Generally now, actually, we stopped buying cows from outside first thing. So initially, when we started, we bought the cows from outside, and that whenever we get the cow, I mean, all the cows that we bought was, uh, hello, am I
yes,
audible?
I'm here.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. So all the cows that we bought were in first lactation. I mean those were about to give birth to
Lactate.
calf for the first time.
Okay,
So yeah, so we used to keep the cows up to 3 lactations. Generally, if the cows are managed well, you can keep it up to at least 10 to 12 lactation if they're properly managed. 10 to 12 lactation. But here in our farm, our policy is to keep the cows up to 3 lactations. And for this, there are two strong reasons. One thing, in the first 2 and 3 lactation, the quality of the milk is too good. I mean, the milk solids are very good. Um, and another thing, even in the interest of the cow, keeping the cow in one single, environment, and one single, so one set of feeding for very longer time is not even good in the interest of so when it moves out of from our like farm to someone else, some other farmer, probably their feeding pattern will be different, and that is actually good in the interest of the cow as well. So it will get nutrition holistically. I mean, even each and every farmer try to meet the nutritional demand as far as possible holistically. Even after that, there are some micronutrients or micro trace minerals or something that we would be not be able to, or that would be not be able to grow in our region, those grasses or something like that. So that is the other reason. So another thing, and also uh, when it comes to financial part of it, when we sell the cow in third lactation, we won't be losing any money. I mean, whatever the price that we have purchased the cow, we'll get more or less same. Even if we lose the probably 5 to 10% of the purchasing cost. And yeah, that probably that money we would have earned in through the milk in those 2 or 3 lactations. So yeah, and whoever the person buy from us, they used to keep it for another 3 or 4 lactations like that. And generally, that's the practice here in the village. I mean, no one keeps the cow for like 15, 20 years, and it keeps moving from one farmer to other. And there are various reasons to it as well. And one thing probably the farmer want to buy a new cow, or maybe it's financially we want money to something else, maybe to pay kids tuition fee or school fee. So he want to
Okay.
sell the cow, and later when he get the money through his crop, he'll buy the cow. So this keeps happening. And yeah, when if it's for slaughtering, generally here in the practice, cows goes to slaughtering after 8 or 10 lactations, or yeah, if it's about if it's very sick, it's not possible to there are no zero chances of cow being survived from the diseases or something. It is in only in those cases, especially in the part that where we are living, the cows goes to slaughter. No one sells the cows to, I mean, like in West, no one sells the cows to slaughter when the cow is in good condition, and also this one, because in the West they have a very good market for beef, and also the people pay very high price for good quality beef. So that is why there the cows are raised exclusively for the purpose of beef, and they have a different set of breeds, and which they raise only for
They
beef.
have a beef farming industry exclusively.
Yeah. But here the people do not never especially at least in the region where I am living, at least in Karnataka, I have not seen any, not in Karnataka, I have not seen anywhere in South India for that matter, and even North India, I guess, because I haven't been to much of the places. I have been to a couple of places. Even there, I have not seen anyone raising the cow for beef. Because if someone is selling the cow to slaughter, actually it's a loss to the farmer. They get very, 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 very less money. I mean, not even like 1/20th of the price of cow they will get if they sell it to the slaughtering. You can imagine if the cost of the cow today is 1 lakh, they don't even get 5,000 rupees if they sell it to the slaughter.
So might as well keep it for as long as possible, right?
Yeah, that's what.
And
That's what.
even if it is old, but if it is in good condition,
Mm.
it can be used for other things like for the biogas thing or all that. I think it is still sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, as long as cow is fit and good condition, however the old it is, it won't be sold to the slaughtering houses in the villages. I mean, especially with the farmers who keep 1 or 2 cows in the villages,
Because they also
because
have a bond with the cow. Is that
bonding is one part, and also even whatever the old the cow is, it will be giving some 2 or 3 liters of milk, and that will be
Acha, okay.
that they keep it to consume to their own houses or like that.
So even if the
So
cow is old, it gives milk?
yeah. I mean, unless it's not getting pregnant or something and it's not calving, then the issue pops up. And also actually the cow goes to slaughter only when generally when they're sick and they've reached a point where the survival of the cow is almost 0%. So only in
Okay.
that case it goes, and very rarely some unproductive cow goes into slaughter, and that percentage is very less. So the major reason cow goes to slaughter because they are suffering, the cow is suffering from one or the other illness, and it's very hard to the survival chance is very less, and that is what. And if you ask me, are the only sick cows going to slaughter? No, of course there are some good cows also going to slaughter, but at that time farmer will not be knowing that is going to slaughter, because when people buy from him, they're going taking that to for
Okay.
milk purpose
Especially
and
in
all.
cases of large dairies and when they are buying the cows, the farmer will not know about what will happen to them.
Many cases they will not be knowing. I mean, they think that. I mean, generally none of the farmer, as I'm with my own experience. none of the farmer will be willing to selling knowingly selling to the slaughtering of the cows. And many times it happened without his knowledge. And when the buyer comes, he buys, telling him that it's for taking that cow for milk purpose. They'll keep it in the house, but sometimes that end up with a slaughtering. That rarely happens, and of course that is happening as well. But when we look from the farmer perspective, we sell the cow to slaughter knowingly only when the survival chances are very
Very
less for the
minimal.
cow. Yeah, very
And
less.
also, I think India has this whole angle of revering a cow in which is very ingrained in the dharma. So I think that angle also helps to
To
I
some
mean,
extent,
it
yeah,
develops a very different feeling for cows in general.
yeah, to
I
some
think
extent,
that
to some
angle
extent,
is
yeah,
there. I mean, this is conditioned in some way, I
yeah.
guess. So
And also, like when the farmers sell the cow to the slaughter, uh, even when the cow is sick, they do not do it, with a joy, or even they do that
I
with a pain,
uh,
But it also they were put in that inevitable situation, because as if that when they're already leaving with very little bit of money, and also when they're already in lot of debt, the current situation of farming and all their income is dependent on the climate and many of the external factors which is not in their control, when their financial condition is too bad. So when one of his cow fell sick or become unproductive, so he'll be left with no choice, I mean, of selling that to slaughter. Because if by selling that to slaughter, at least he'll get some 1/20th or 1/10th of the money, whatever uh, he gets out of it. Then he borrows some more money and he get the new cow. So that will help him to sustain his house. So I mean, we cannot force the farmer to take care of sick cow or unproductive cow at this point of time, because their economical condition is very bad. So if we force them to keep one more cow, which is not generating any income to him, will also become a burden. Even in the best case, one cannot take care of the cow with less than 100 rupees a day. Okay, that is, I mean, I'm not considering lot of factors, including his labor. At least 100 days 100 days rupees you need to feed to his that cow now. So when this household income itself is, after deducting everything, is 6,000 or 8,000 a month. If you want to take care of a cow, I mean, by spending 3,000 out of it, then he cannot meet his other expenses, like mostly his food needs, his education, children's education need, or his health, spending on the health or many other things. So the only solution to this, to our, to saving cow from going to slaughter, or for that matter, any animal, uh, is not the forcing farmer to take care of it and who is already in economically bad phase. The government or any other organization should come forward and they have to take the cow by paying at least nominal amount, so that he can get the new cow to to support his family and to generate some income out of it, instead of forcing him. And now it's like, of course, there are a lot of goshalas, they do not pay money. They'll take care of these sick cows
they
and all.
adopt the cows and they take care
Yeah,
of
yeah,
them. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Only they take care of those cows until their last breath. But the farmer have to give that cow for
Without
free of
money.
cost. Yeah, free of cost. But
But it's
he,
better than abandoning the cows. Isn't it? I mean, of
yeah,
course,
yeah. I mean, this
they'll
large
not
dairies.
get anything out of it, but
I mean, these economically well-off farmers, or those who are doing farming as their uh, uh, as for their joy and passion, but their livelihood or their income is generated from some other maybe business, or they work. There are I know a couple of people who are working in IT and also have a small farm in the village, they weekend farmer kind of thing. They do that. They when that happens, they take the sick cows or unprotected cows and they leave it in the goshalas. For them, it's that 5,000 or 10,000 that they get by selling the cow to the slaughterhouse will not matter much. But when to the farmer, whose household income itself is 5,000, 6,000, or 8,000 a month, that 10,000 matters a lot. So they cannot do that. So at
Right.
least for them, what I believe is either the government or maybe any organization should come forward if they really intended to save this cow from getting slaughtered. At least they have to, fill that gap instead of if these guys, I mean, if the farmer is given an option, so we'll also pay the equal amount what you get from selling the cow to the slaughter. He'll always prefer this option than sending it to the slaughter. Even if he get 2,000 less, also he'll do the same. He'll send the cow to the goshala rather than slaughter. So yeah.
That's right. So, okay, so coming to that lactation part, because you said that the first three lactations are good, the milk quality is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
There's this theory that we are depriving the calf of the milk
Yeah.
if we are milking the cow when
Yeah.
the cow is delivering the calf.
Mm.
So, what are your thoughts on that? Because it's a very I mean, very ambiguous things. Like, is the cow really? I mean, sorry, is the calf really getting deprived of
Mm.
of his or
Mm.
her mother's milk?
No, no, that's actually a myth. See, if the calves are not taken care properly in their early days, so it's not going to be a good cow when it's in the later years. If the calves are deficit of nutrients, if the calves do not get enough milk or any other nutrients for that matter, it will it there are a lot of issues will arise. First thing, in the later part, it won't get conceived. There will be a pregnancy issue, and when there is a pregnancy issue, it become an unproductive cow. Again, it's a very big loss to the farmer. And next, um, if it's not taken care properly in their early years, and it will it looks very skeletal, so again that won't get a good return to farmer. So it again it's a huge loss to him. So yeah, for these reasons I generally no farmer ever reduce the milk to the calf just for the purpose of selling, because in the long term it's going to cause much more loss to him.
So
So
economically
they
also it doesn't make sense.
yeah, it doesn't make sense in the first thing. And also it's like uh, for any even in a scientific way, if we rear the calf from day one, calf to keep it healthy, for healthy upbringing of a calf, maximum 4 to 4.5 liters of milk is enough for a calf per day. If you feed more than that, then the lot of like starting from loose motion to the lot of other, and also um
Uh,
issues with the digestive system of the cow. There are a lot of issues pops up. So if you cannot feed more, and I have seen there are a lot of calf died by drinking more milk, and sometimes the farmer might have forgot to tie the calf, or sometimes even before he wakes up in the early morning, the calf drink all the milk whatever is available with the cow, and in the immediately within a day or next day they could not able to digest, and someone's stomach gets bloated, and many calves have died out of it. I've seen that. So
okay.
yeah, actually even in the interest of the calf as well, the 3 to 4.5 liters, again it depends on the breed and also size of the calf and all. So maximum 4.5 liters of milk is enough for any calf to upbringing for up to like 3.5 to 4 months, is enough. So here I don't think any farmer will, don't feed that one, because generally the cows gives 8 to 10 liters a day. In the first 7 to 8 liters, it's called as gin halu in Kannada. So colostrum milk. So
Cholesterol
that
milk, right?
yeah, yeah. in that milk, none of the dairy would take that milk. So the either the farmer consume the cholesterol milk by making here we make a sweet called ginnu. Uh,
Yes, we also make karwas. It's
yeah,
called in Marathi.
yeah. The farmer consume a portion of the milk to make ginnu, and also they might give. And here there is also practice of making that ginnu and giving it to deity nearby. A small portion of it when the cows give birth to calf,
To the
and one
deity.
portion, yeah, deity nearby, and also leave it to the small portion of it. They will they put it on a banana leaf and leave it to the river
Okay.
when calf give birth to this. So it's a practice, traditional practice. So and a portion of the milk they consume making ginnu for their own consumption, and a part of it they may give it to neighbors or their relatives. And remaining all the rest of the milk goes back into calf. So yeah, then at least for first 8 to 10 days, then later,
So colostrum is there for first 8 to 10 days. The medicine
yeah,
contains.
yeah, yeah. So and that colostrum is milk is very important for calf's immunity as well.
Mhm.
So that calf will get in abundance for sure. And even later part, the generally cow yield. I mean, if the cow is taken care properly, it will yield at least 8 to 10 liters a day. So in that, I mean, at least for first 1 month, they feed 4 to 4.5 liters of milk to calf, and the second month they reduce a little bit. I mean, by the time the calf will start eating the grass and all, within 20 days they start eating, and by the end of by the second month they'll reduce milk little bit by mostly 3 liters or 2.5 liters, and they substitute the remaining needs of the calf by grass and also you know rice bran, wheat bran, and a little bit of oil cakes and a little bit of jaggery and salt, and the nutrition mix they prepare in their own, and also leftovers of these pulses, grains. They add everything and they make a powder kind of thing, and they started feeding that to cow. Like we feed, here ragi sari, and in cities they feed Cerelac or Ferex to kids, no, like that. The here they reduce the milk by 1.5 liter, and they start substituting with the grass and this thing. And by third month, again they reduce by another half liter or 1 liter. They will give 2 liter from 4 liter to 2 liter, and the intake of grass and this thing will also be increased by calf by this time. And then by fourth month, gradually they bring it down.
Just like
That's
how
how
it
it
is
is.
in case of babies, like they start
Exactly.
having
How?
other things and
Yeah,
they start weaning
yeah,
off the breastfeeding
yeah,
part.
yeah. Even many people have asked me, see, in case of humans, like until till the end of 1 year, we give only when we do breastfeeding, and but why are you doing this in the calf in the first month itself? That's after the first month itself. See, our
Lifespan is very
lifespan is 100 years, but
uh,
cow's lifespan is 15 to 20 years. And as a human, we start to take other, apart from, mother's milk, we are able to take other food only after a year. But this cow will start, even if you don't put also, that itself start finding grass, and it will start eating from 15th or 20th day only. So we don't have to, no one force feed the grass to cow, these calves. They only start eating themselves. So it's not like farmer go intentionally reducing that. When they
got
started to
it.
take, he gradually increase this and decrease this part, and that is how the weaning of milk we do it for, even for our own kids. So we
Yes.
startly gradually start weaning our kids from having it. The same way the weaning happens to the cow. So that's how the general practice in the village. But many people, I mean, at least in the urban center, they have lost touch with the village. So they are influenced by the things which comes in the social media or the WhatsApp or in the online. So, but here the case is scenario is totally different from what's happening in the West. Yeah,
Okay.
there the the dairy farming itself is an occupation of theirs. That's the main occupation. But here, dairy farming is a subsidiary one. The main thing is growing some other crop in their farmland. But there, the dairy farming itself is a main occupation of the farmers. So that's why the kind of dairying done in West is totally different from the kind of dairying that is being done in India.
So, another question on similar lines about the lactation part. How do you ensure that the cows keep lactating? Because you will have to artificially impregnate them or inseminate them, something like that. You'll have to do it in those ways, right? Or because you cannot, or do you, I mean, are cows mated forcefully, made to mate forcefully? All these
Yeah.
questions are also there in this space.
Yeah. 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 And the first thing, uh, um, when it comes to this artificial insemination, if I go and artificially inseminate the cow any day, it won't get pregnant. So the cow is like that. There is a heat cycle in the cow that comes once in 21 days, and that is the indication that the cow itself giving an indication that it is ready to mate and it wants to mate. So that's how it works. It's not like human going and okay, today, yeah, I want to inseminate these 10 cows. So not like that. And even if you do also, it won't get conceived. 100% it won't get conceived. The cow will only get conceived when the cow is on that heat cycle, and that heat cycle will last maximum for 24 hours. And the cow gives lot of indications that it's ready to mate. One thing, if you have a bunch of like 5 6 cows in a herd and all are left free untied, the cow which want to get inseminated will be hyperactive, will start jumping on other cow, and even if someone have a bull in their herd, the bull itself goes and do the crossing and all. So that's how the mating happens. So that is the one thing. And also the cow will start screaming, and it give a lot of indication. I mean, with our own visual observation, we can say the cow is ready to mate, and actually, looking for mating. If they really have a bull in their herd, obviously it happens naturally. So in that particular window of 24 hours, when the cow is ready for insemination or if ready for mating, then only the farmer do the insemination. He is not going to do, okay, since I want to produce the milk every day, around the year, so let's keep inseminating the cow whenever I want to. It do not work like that. So when the cow give that indication, even the farmer have to vigilant. If he meets that heat cycle, even to give you an example, even in my own farm, there is one, cow, which we, inseminated almost, 6 months before. Since then, we could not able to get any indication from that. So it did conceive last time. So since then, we did not. So it's like for a farmer, that 6 months is like waiting period. I mean, of course, it's not commercially viable to him, but he cannot do. I mean, I cannot go and do so. Say almost 6 months lost. I cannot wait anymore. Let's do insemination now. And even if I do that, it's waste of money for me. But the insemination do not come with. It's not free. It come with cost. It cost me. It depends on the quality of the semen that they go for and kind of bull they have chosen. So it cost me starting from 500 rupees to it goes up to thousands of rupees.
So
So
this
it's a very,
semen is something that you buy from somewhere.
yeah, government sells, and also there are some NGOs who sell the semen. And not the farmer cannot do the insemination. They has to be trained. It's a technical thing. So the government or organization, they themselves come and do that. So it's not like insemination, artificial insemination, like the farmer keep abusing the cow by doing artificial insemination every day. It's not like that. So if someone is doing that, and there is no fool other than him on this planet. because it's a to the 100% the cow is not going to consume when if it's not on that eat cycle, and when if the cow is not ready for mating, so it's not good. Instead of the physical mating, when the in that particular window only they do it artificially, and there is also the commercial angle to it, because it's not possible for farmer who have one or two cows to keep the bull just for the sake of mating, and that too in almost 2 years once the cows will be mated for the calf. Only for using two times, an average one time in a year. So and the farmer cannot afford to keep the bull. In earlier days, in every village there was a practice, or at least in 2 3 villages there was a practice of keeping one or two bull by some one or the other family, and their work is completely and uh, mating the cows. When the cow is on the heat cycle, the farmer used to get the cow to that bull, the person who kept that bull, and they used to do the mating directly with that bull. So, and he used to take some small money, or even before that, this person used to give some paddy or some in return for mating. They used to exchange something, money or some goods or something. That's how it was working. But there is also other side to it. There is a chances of some diseases that is being transmitted sexually, possibility of transmission of disease. I mean, if assume that one cow has some diseases, and that bull used to keep mating tens of cows every day. So
Right,
if
right.
yeah, if the same bull used to mate the other healthy cow, which has mate which has intercourse with some other cow, which is have some sexually transmittable diseases, then there is a chance of other cows which are healthy also getting sick by that disease. So even that risk part is also there. So keeping these things in mind, government have devised this artificial insemination thing. So in the interest of cow, to keep the cow healthy, and also this one, and also another thing, to keep the cost low for the farmer.
Right.
Uh, s-
So that they don't have to rear bulls and
yeah, yeah. Mm.
you also said that it is, you had mentioned once that it may be harmful because physically also for the cow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, because they have to take them somewhere
Yeah, yeah,
far away to meet.
yeah. Of course. I mean, even we have seen that as well many times. Like I witnessed myself. I mean, these bulls, they keep it for this mating and all. They're very huge, and they've taken. I mean, since they keep the bull for mating, they have taken care very well, because every day the bull needs to mate with at least 5 to 10 cows. So it has strong enough to carry out that activity. So they have taken care of it. That's their body mass is too much. If the cow which is supposed to be crossed with that bull is not strong enough, there are multiple incidences where the backbone of the cow got broken, and if that happens in case of cow once, we do not have the medical facility which is good enough to treat that cow and bring it back to its original condition. In that case, there is no option. More generally, in those cases, those cows goes. If that happens, that then the cow go into slaughter. So it cannot recover and stand up, and will be not be ready to produce milk or something. So in that case, generally they end up with slaughter. So there's also risky side to it.
Yeah. So and what about the milking machines and stuff? So there is this angle that it's cruelty to them if it's harmful to them if we use machines, because these days a lot of dairies, large dairies especially, they use machines because they have if they are keeping those many cows, and I think even farms are using machines, like farms like even if they are 20 cows, I think they're using machines. So, what is your view on that? Like, is it better to milk by hand, or I mean, I always
Um,
thought it's better to milk by hand.
yeah.
So,
Um, I mean, when even this in Indian tradition, when it comes to milking, um, since as I told you, more than like 95% of the milk that is being produced in India is produced by small and marginal farmers who keep hardly one, two, or three cows. So they do not keep milking machine, and it's not viable to them. I mean, it's not a worthy investment for them to put a lakh rupees on a milking machine, uh, to just to milk 2 or 3 cows in a day, and that too to they need the around the clock electricity supply to run that machine. And also if they otherwise they need to keep a backup of generator and all, then again that's an additional expenses, and that's not worthy enough for them. So none of the farmers who have 2 3 cows or 4 cows 5 cows keep the machine. The machine comes in only when the farmer have 25 30 or even sometimes even up to 20 they do not keep, like 40 50 and all. The machine comes in only in those cases. That is the first part. And next part, is the machine more painful than hand? With my own practical experience, I would say no. Because I know we can, I mean, we can experience how it works. We can put our like thumb or any finger into that cluster that we put into the teats of cow. So it's a just soft silicone rubber. It just it's works under vacuum. So it just it's a kind of soft gentle press and leave it, gentle press and leave it. So this is how it works. So it's not actually as we consider. Even I was in the similar perception before. I'm personally experiencing that. Before getting into machine, even when we went to one of the exhibition there, I personally and I asked them to, before buying the machine, I want to go to any of the farm. I just want to see it and experience that. And it took that supplier took me to one of the farm, and we had put our fingers and tried. I mean, it's not, definitely it's not that. I mean, if it's really that painful, the cow would not stand. They'll kick their legs and they'll throw away that machine. And that is the first thing. And next thing, uh, even sometimes our hands are much more harmful than the machine, because in the machine the pressure is consistent. So
Uh,
once it's set, it will remain consistent every time. So, but in the human case, it's not. It differs from person to person. If a husband milks in the house, it's completely different way. It's a wife. So that's why you can see some cows do not allow some person in the house to milk. In their absence, if someone do the milking every day, assume that a wife does every day. If tomorrow the husband goes, cows do not let him to do milk, or it won't give the milk at all. If we go there, either it kick him or it won't give milk or something like that.
yeah,
Because
cows need a specific person. They are used to
yeah,
that
because it have
person's
adopted to that the way they do. And also it also depends on the mood of the human being. So if assume that if I had some bitter fight with someone, and I immediately went to do the milking of the cow, the pressure I put on the teat will be different. And if I'm in a very good mood, the pressure I put on the teat will be different. And if I'm in a hurry to do some work, in the pro I know I wanted to finish up this task, and then I do the pressure I put, and the speed of my milking is totally different. And if I have enough time, my the speed is different. But in the machine, actually it's constant. That
right.
doesn't mean I'm for pro milking, I'm for that milking machine. I'm just putting you the facts before you. So that's how it's going to work here.
So a lot of people here are vegan also due to lactose intolerance in India. And but you hear of this more in the West than you do in India. So is it because of the milk being processed differently uh, over there? Is it something like that? Because you hear of lactose intolerance more in the West, or is like, is it, or is it that we are getting organic milk here? What is the
Um,
reason?
yeah, the first thing, lactose intolerance have nothing to do with the way milk is produced, because lactose will be there in all the milk, whether you produce it organically or inorganically, whatever way you produce. the lactose is part of the milk, and that will be there in the milk. So yeah, in the West, people are very much. I mean, larger number of people compared to South Asian countries. They are lactose intolerant because they do not have the habit of consuming. Historically, they do not have the habit of consuming milk as it is. They consume milk in a totally in a different way, either as a yogurt or as a cheese, or that's how they have been consuming. They're not consuming the milk as it is, like the way we do. We consume milk, we just boil the milk and we add some sugar or jaggery, and some make tea or some make coffee, and some even adds like Horlicks or boost something, or some even drink as it is. So, but that's not the case in West. If you go to any of the European countries, they either consume that as a cheese or as
So
a yogurt.
doesn't have lactose, like cheese yogurt.
Yeah, in the process of making cheese and yogurt, what happens, the it's both basically, whether it's a yogurt or cheese, it's outcome of the culture. I mean, which is microorganisms. It's a temperature, and it's a game of microorganisms and a temperature. Then we arrive at end product cheese or yogurt. So in that process, lactose, which is a carbohydrate, is converted into an amino acid. So the lactose will not remain in its original form. So that is why the people there consume cheese but not milk. When they consume the milk, they have the issue with the blotting and lot of other stuff. And they, when coffee means for them, it's a black coffee. It's without milk. So that is why here in India we have the habit of consuming milk historically for a very long time. Either it's a coffee, tea, or milk as it is. So, and even by making some kheer or some paisa with the milk and all. So, since we have that habit of, so our bodies, adapted to that condition, adapted to those and digesting them. I mean, our body secretes the enzymes needed to digest that milk, but that's not happen. That's not the case with the West. So that's why there are a lot of lactose intolerance case in the West than in India.
Okay, and truly organic milk is not found
No, no,
easily
no, no, no,
in
no.
India or in
Yeah,
the West, right?
no,
Because
no.
okay, okay. Last question.
Yeah.
So what in what ways can large dairy farms become more sustainable? What are your suggestions? Do you have something like that in
Large,
mind?
large cannot be sustainable. I mean, they have to go small. The only way to become sustainable is they have to go small. They cannot do the large dairying the way they are doing there with hundreds of thousands of cows. I mean, I've been reading very recently that even in the Middle East, to reduce the dependence of the dairy products from other countries, they are coming with huge industrial farms which have like 10 thousands of cows. I'm very shocked. I don't know how do they manage and how do they have control over each cows, and how do they monitor the health and everything of the cows. Of course, there are technology and there are a lot of devices and tools available to monitor each and every this one, but still I don't think it's a healthy practice of keeping the large herd size in one.
Yeah, and I think individual attention is also important. How much so ever technology
Yeah,
comes into play, I think
yeah, yeah,
human attention is important, I
yeah, yeah, yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Okay.
I just want to tell all your viewers that, yeah, first thing, the dairy being done in the West is totally different from the dairy that we are doing here.
Mm.
So it's, I know, rather than getting things as it is from there getting influenced here, it's always good to uh, build our own perspective according to our own realities here. So, and also it's good to visit any of the villages and see how the farming or dairy farming is done in that matter, and to support local farmers, and not just in dairy, in every way, and uh, to always have the habit of buying directly from the farms rather than like supermarkets and all. So one thing, the freshness is ensured, and also they'll get to know the source where they are buying from, and in a way they can also support the local economy over there. So give more preference to the food produced or locally, and which is maybe fruits or vegetables and whatever it is. And it's always good to have the get adopted to local food culture, and which is more good for that particular climatic condition that where we are living in. Like going to say for example, in Europe and wearing a dhoti and uh, the
Uh-huh.
what we wear is not right thing, because the temperature is too low there. We have to wear our clothes. Our clothes has to be according to the
But we are
climatic
wearing
conditions there.
suits in India, so we are wearing suits, three-piece suits in
Yeah,
Indian
of course.
climate.
Even I feel. I mean, when I go to a lot of events and all, the temperature outside there is 38, 40, and people are wearing suits. I don't know how they manage that. I mean, I'm shocked. I mean,
Mhm.
whether it's food or our apparels, that has to be according to the places where we live, and it's always good. So yeah, I would like to end with this. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So thanks a lot for your time. If someone wants to visit your farm, is there an option of that?
Yeah,
Uh,
of course. I mean, in our website, there is a contact number. They can book. Generally, we do farm tours on Saturdays and Sundays, and that too on prior booking.
okay.
So, because I mean, we will be occupied with other works and we'll be traveling on work
Right,
to many
right.
other parts. So that is why we do it only on Saturdays and Sundays. Since if they come there, we have to explain them very well and what's happening and all. So we have to engage them completely. So keeping that in mind, we do it on Saturdays and Sundays. And our website, the contact number is available. They can drop a WhatsApp message when they want to visit and all, and how many people and all. So we do it generally in a batches of 20 people, and once the 20 people we have 20 people ready for a batch, we'll inform them so they can come and visit.
Okay, got it. Okay. Thank you so much for the time. Really, I mean, it was very insightful, and it has opened up the mind to so many things. So thanks a lot for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah.
Bye.
Hope you found this episode insightful and interesting. Stay tuned for the next episode, which contains the story of farming Bhutan narrated by Kamalesh himself.